Hey, good morning, peace and blessings, sisters and brothers. It is I, Sister Ro, back up in the building with you with Sunday Sip with Sisters. I hope that you all had a wonderful week and that you're starting off the beginning of your week well. Today, just want to come to y'all a little bit because I'm gonna be back talking about Black femicide, but that'll be in something separate. I just want to come to y'all today and just kind of talk a little bit about what's going on in the world. Through the week, I make a lot of little small tidbit videos. I feel like when I see things, I kind of talk about it. Um, but I'm also going through a journey of changing my diet. I'm doing a lot of plant-based stuff, and I'm working on my health as well. So, as one of my eldest sisters, Sister Sequestris, shared with me, and she's been like a vegan most of her life, um, and always done plant-based, even when it wasn't fashionable, as you will. She was saying, Rose, sometimes you have to stop and take care of yourself, and all the other things you have will still be there if need to be there. And so I take those things to heart as I stop to focus on my own health. Also, when doing that, I hired I'm working with an awesome herbalist, Sister Tamika Mosley. If you do not know who she is, you should get to know her, share her information. I had a health scare, and the sister hooked me up with a bunch of herbs. And when I took tests again, the doctor was like, "You're improving." So herbs definitely helps, but it's good to know people who know what they're doing. You know what I mean? And she definitely knows what she's doing. The other thing is then I hired a wellness coach, and that's Coach Karen. And as I was out walking one day with my sister, the sister rode past her on the bike, and she said to me, like, I think I took a break. She thought I was praying, but I was praying I could ride this bike on Garcia Benz. And she said, I said, no, my big sister got me out here. Shout out to Sister Dottie, my sister Dottie, my real blood sister Dottie, who told me, come on, girl, get on this bike and ride. And so that's how I met Coach Karen. And so the sister looks really good for her age. And turned out she's a fitness wellness coach. That is her ministry because she is a Christian. So that is her ministry. It's just been nice working with her. She's very motivating. And I'm really, really enjoying that. And then there's the part that I do. So I have the herbalist, I have the coach, and then I have the part that I have to do. You know what I mean? Which is to get up every morning. I bike ride every morning. First of all, I pray every morning. I try to stay well. I eat wholeness foods. I'm really, really on this journey. But let me just be honest. It doesn't happen like that. That's not how it really happened for me. My whole life, honestly, I've always had people who have been health conscious around me. I don't know if that's y'all story, but that's my story. So I've always had people around me like Sister Javon Muhammad, who is a vegan or plant-based, back and forth. But every time I'm with her, I always eat well and eat healthy. And so, I've always had people around me, Sister Satu, who I was with yesterday. I may talk about that a little bit. But these are all women who have always eaten healthy around me, even though I was still eating chicken and a little beef or whatever. I just wasn't ready for the journey. Sometimes you get to the journey because you have a health scare, and I had a health scare. So it made me um, back up and be like, bro, you do amazing work, but it would mean nothing if you can't walk around, if you can't, if your body's telling you, hey, I'm gonna need some attention, I'm gonna need you to help take care of me. And then you kind of still like, yeah, but I gotta go save the world. You know what I mean? But you're not saving yourself. So I had to back up off that. But I also had a lot of examples around me. It's not, see, when I hear people say nobody's helping them, I'm like, that's a little narcissism that I think a lot of people have. I try not to ever say that uh, in that way. Like, ain't nobody doing that for me. You're not gonna ever hear me say no shit like that because I know that that's not true. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we say stuff like that when we're mad at ourselves because there's always constant reminders around you of what you're capable of doing. It is up to you. Sorry, it is up to you to pay attention to that. And sometimes we don't pay attention because sometimes we be kind of arrogant, So anyway, so I had all of these uh, um, people around me that were eating right, eating healthy, being active, and I was active to a degree, but I was not really focused. And I always think of it as a trinity. For me, it's like food, you know, and then the next one is okay, yeah, not now. So one is food, sorry, one is working out, and the other one is mental wellness. And so for me, I've never had them all like together. You know what I mean? So this is the first time where I've had all three of them together. I also feel like so that's the Trinity, how that works for me. But I think another big part that works for me is when I remember my ancestors, and sometimes we don't always do that. To me, ancestors mean everything to me. Um, Everything I do in my life is a reflection of them. And sometimes that's hard for people to understand. I'm gonna show you this little. I seen this picture yesterday, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna show that today. So when I see this, I always look at my ancestors and remember who they were because it's really who I am, and I don't really get to be. Um, I only get to be because they were. And so as I look at my health, I look at my mom's health, I look at her mom's health. I have everybody in my family their death certificate, and I look at, well, what did they die of? Because I'm really curious about that. And a lot of them die from hypertension and diabetes. So this is what I really do know. And then we know that. I mean, they're Black, they're African Americans, they're descendant of people who were enslaved in this country. So, we know that they came through all of these systems of oppressions, you know what I mean? And I think, you have to take all that into consideration of how that deals within your body. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you've been up all day and haven't had any sleep, people can look at you and be like, damn, you tired. Because it's like a wearing on you. You can see it physically, but for Black people who were descendant of enslaved people, you can see that almost inside of us. And this is not the same like one of your parents is from here and one of your parents from somewhere else. It's not quite the same. You know what I mean? There is something that happens to people who have been here for centuries because there's a passing down of something. And normally you get that passing down from your mom if that's who you're raised with, or the environment that you're around as well that contributes to it. So I looked at that with them. I looked at, what kind of things that they passed away from on their death certificates. And there was a lot of stuff around hypertension and diabetes. Um, and they were very young. We're talking 52. My grandmother died at 52. My mama died at 52. And these were things that I had to really look at. And as I am approaching 50, with things, but I also believe in metaphysics. And I also believe that your ailments is a sign of things that's going on outside of yourself and how you're dealing with it inside of yourself. And so when you don't deal with it inside of yourself, then um, it has to show itself. Like for instance, there's a woman called Louise Hay. The book is called You Can Heal Yourself. I love this book. I've had it for years, and I always reference the book. But one of the things it talks about diabetes, and you can look up diabetes in the book, and when you look up diabetes, it will say that you don't have enough sweetness in your life, and so diabetes is about your sugar being high or too low, but mainly for Black folks it's too high because we eat a lot of things with sugar in it. And so when I looked at the part of it that is the spiritual kind of soul work part, that's not having enough sweetness. When I look back on my mom's life and my grandmom's life, I know they didn't have a lot of sweetness in their life. You know, that was hence why they cooked so many things that had sweetness in it, in terms of the taste. So sweetness in terms of how people treat you. That's why I'm a stickler for when people act like being Black means you have to take abuse. That doesn't work for me because I need sweetness. If you treat me sweet, it's gonna be all good. But if you come at me with some BS, it's not gonna be good. But see, every time I have to fight you like that, that affects my health, it affects my soul, it affects my being. So that's why I'm kind of like when I'm talking with people and they're saying I like to be sometimes in other communities because it just seems sweeter, like their life is sweeter. Black folks look at it as like, you don't like Black people. It's kind of like saying I don't want to be with y'all because y'all have too much bullshit going on. There's too much drama. You know what I mean? We being black shouldn't mean that we're fighting each other all the time. Being black don't mean we struggling and we don't know how we're gonna pay the rent. Being black shouldn't be, oh my God, we fanboying. You know, that's too much and it weighs on the psyche. And then it comes out in your dis-ease and your dis-ease. You understand what I'm saying? It comes out like that. So here we are, you know, high blood pressure, diabetes, you name it, cancer. You know, we got all of these things going on with us, and then we check it out. So when they say we have the highest COVID rate, I don't think it's that COVID like black people. I think that we constantly are in environments and are a part of environments that constantly beat your body down. And so then you become susceptible to getting whatever latest disease is out there or latest ailment is out there. And so it's very different when, you know, I was telling somebody like, for me, I feel like I'm always having to fight forces sometimes. Like, and this is really my truth. I have a really hard time taking instruction from men folk sometimes because men-centered things gets on my nerves a little bit because it doesn't leave room for us to really be together. Like, you know, like I feel like men should learn how to use honey just like women learn how to use honey. Like, I mean, you can get more with honey than you can say with vinegar. You know what I'm saying? So I like if someone's teaching me something and their demeanor is very rough, in my brain it just turns shit off. Like I can't even hear what they're saying. If they saying something and their energy feels very soft and very good, I'm on it. Like I would, oh my God, I'm just so on it. So for me, sometimes with some men, not all, with some men, their energy is very hard and very choppy. I don't think that means that you're a man. I think that means you kind of rude. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I have to really work on finding men who understand honey. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that you're soft, as in like your sexuality. It means that you know how to talk to people. You know what I mean? This morning I went bike riding because I bike ride every morning. And on the trail I was riding and I was really focused and I passed all of these people and everybody spoke to me and I spoke to everybody. And half those people were white people. I'm trying to be funny and some of them were white men. And they were saying hi, but their hi wasn't a rude. It was like, good morning. Like, you know, it was just something about the energy that was really sweet and soft, like honey, even though it was just a passing by of the hi. All of that, y'all, is an environment. It's an environment. And so for me, I think the way that we beat this thing in this culture that we're in is that we got to have a little bit more softness. It don't mean that you're gonna be a total sucker because you know we be thinking, but what it really means is that we have to uh, create environments where we're cool with each other. You know, it shouldn't be as, and I tell this to myself, if I feel like I'm getting ready to be in an environment and I'm gonna have to fight, I'm gonna have to dismiss myself because I don't want to fight because what it does is that it's kind of like when you eat meat. I don't know about y'all. When I ate meat, or especially if I ate steak in particular, I would get very ruggish and very like just snappy, like as opposed to if I had some fruit, some cantaloupe or something, seriously, or some grapes, my demeanor would be very soft. You know, I would just be like, oh, like, we joke about like hippies hugging trees and stuff like that, but it really does help people to be softer in their spirit, which means they get to kind of be on earth in a softer kind of way. I'm gonna give you another example. Yesterday, I was driving to the Bay to do some stuff with Sister Satu, who I just really love, and um, uh, while I was driving with her, I was talking to Yakiel on the phone from Australia, and we talked about race a little bit. And he's one of the very few white people I could talk about race with because he's white. And so he was giving me his spiel about, you know, his lens as a white man about, how white people sometimes don't necessarily see color because they don't have to see color. This is really the truth because that's their lens. And he was trying to talk about good people and and then I said, that right there, what you have. And I said, that right there, that part of you that that you get to be so free that you don't even have to have that as a consideration. You know what I mean? Like, as a white person, you could just talk about the character, but race is never, you never have to consider your race in something, in the environment, at your job, when you go to the doctors, in your health stats. Like, race for you isn't a factor. You know, you just, you don't even have that. It's a certain freedom that you have. You know what I mean? It's really what everybody's trying to get to. But then we don't really understand that part of getting to that freedom that we think white people have, that we see that the environments that's been created, if we go back to the environment that's been created for them, is really in the mind. And so when you're Black, you have to be very conscious of who you're going to be with so that they don't restrict your ability to get to that freedom. Because as he was talking, I couldn't even I couldn't make him see color. I really could not make him see color. So I just had to, like, but it dawned on me that that was a freedom that he has that I want to have as a Black person, as a human being, really. I wanna have that freedom to not consider, when I go to the doctors, that they're gonna treat me a certain way because I'm a Black woman, and I'm a big Black woman, and I'm a Black woman that's very, I have melanin, like, obviously, I'm not mixed with them, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but there's all of these other deep ass factors that white people don't have to consider most of the time because that's a freedom, uh, that they have. Uh, yeah. Oh, yeah, my nephew wanted at breakfast, he's trying to tell me about something. So, it's I sometimes it's kind of really hard to explain sometimes, but when I consider when I'm looking at my health, that's a part of my health journey, is getting to that freedom. You know what I mean? Part of that freedom means you have to turn people off. You know what I mean? And cut people out. And it don't mean you badmouth them or nothing like that. They just don't fit inside of your freedom. You know what I mean? Because I'm really trying to get to this freedom space. You know what I mean? And um I can't be bogged down with other people's stuff. Because for me, I'm looking at my ancestors and what they've been through, and then I'm looking at my own health journey. But then the third part to this is I'm looking at generations I'm never going to see, and what am I going to be able to do as the connector for them? And so that means I have to back up and look at my health. I have to back up and look at who I'm surrounding myself with. I have to back and look at my support system. I got to back and look at what am I leaving so that when people who are coming behind me go to for some strength on their ancestors, hopefully I would be one, that they would be like, well, this is what Aunt Ro did. This is what she did. This is what she was known for, you know, that they could change that. And I feel like sometimes in our community, we don't always do that. We don't always leave. We don't think about the prints that we're leaving. We don't really think about that. Yesterday, as I sat with Sister Satu and was journeying with her on I was journeying with her just on like we talked about spiritual work, uh we talked about just our ancestors, our lineage, where we're from, who the women are. And I feel like Black folks, we gotta start doing that in a personal way, like looking at what's immediate in your life, not the fantasy stories, but the real shit that happened in your families. You know, what was it like for the women? What are you carrying that's from your ancestors? What are you carrying? What work are you gonna have to do spiritually for your ancestors so that the yet to be born have a better opportunity and a better fight? You know, not even fight, but a better quality of life to how they're gonna live. That's a huge responsibility, very huge. So today, I am along with my sister. We're going to check out this. Well, on Friday, yeah, because today's Sunday. On Friday, what day is it? We went to this place called We went to this place called Pure Soul. This is a plant-based uh, uh, restaurant eatery, I guess. And it is in I don't know what you call that part of town because it's not downtown, but it's a little further to the east, I guess. Um, but the food in there was delicious. We had some really good food there. It was all plant-based. It was delicious. So me and my sisters went. We sat out there, and we had some really good food out there. And then today, this their sister every Sunday they have um, soul food, if you will, but it's all plant based. Okay, it's all plant based. So today we're going to go to this place, and they say that you should order your food online and then get there as soon as you can because it'll be gone. So this to show you how I'm wired, and I'm going to support this sister because first of all, I thoroughly enjoyed her food. It was very good. Customer service, beautiful. Because customer service, y'all, is important. I'm sorry, but if you treat me right, I'll come back to your store 1,000 times. Okay, but this sister here today, so it's Soul Food Sunday, I guess. And so today, what they're going to be having out there is some collard greens, some potato salad, some baked beans, corn on the cob, mac and cheese. Um, and space balls and some other stuff. Ask Auntie Soulful Sunday is what she's calling it. Then they're gonna have some other stuff out there too, but mainly that. And so we told her we would come and support her. Now here's the truth, because I make some really good vegetarian greens and don't have that no smoked meat in it. I use smoked paprika and some other things. Um, to get that kind of flavor or taste to it. But I'm going to support this sister anyway. You know, she came out, she greeted us, um, and I want to show my support for her. But also, it helps me because I'm making this switch. So I'm trying to eat more. This would be like a full week of me just eating like this, where I haven't had me meat for a week, and so I'm feeling pretty good about that. So I want to go support her. And so if you're not doing anything, please check out this sister's place. She had a line, so her food was good because I tasted it. But that was my first time going there on Friday, and there was a line. So on this Sunday, if you don't have much to do, please check out her spot, um, because we got to really support. We got to support each other as we make healthier choices. Because for me, this is a healthier choice. But again, I'm gonna say this: I've always been around people who have always ate healthy to a degree. Like at least half of my friends, my real conscious work worthy friends, have always had like good eating habits, and so I'm just kind of being more serious about it. So and maybe my taste buds has changed. Because there was a time where I just felt like I had to have sugar and I had to have meat, and I didn't feel like I was full if I didn't have it. So I feel very uh, just blessed in that regard. So the other thing I want to say before I wrap up, because I just want to kind of check in with y'all today, because I've been kind of talking through the week, is that I just want to end with two things. The first thing is that I really feel like we have to focus on our Black woman, and I'm saying it just like that. I'm saying womb man. I feel like we have to really understand that being a woman has nothing to do with cosmetics. It has nothing to do with how much makeup you put on. It doesn't matter about your lashes or your hair weave. None of those things make you a woman. It makes you made up, but it doesn't make you a woman. What makes a woman is her womb. That's why we're the womb man, and the man is the man. You understand what I'm saying? There is something about the womb. And I feel like we almost have to put that word back in the word. We almost have to say womb man when we talk these days. Um, Sometimes I reflect a lot on things that elders say to me. And I remember my Uncle Stanley saying, blessed memory, Uncle Stanley, that when you crack the door open, when you let people slide, then they will bust the door open like a dam. So if you start off normalizing shit you know is not right, before long, it will kind of act like it has a right to just take over. And that's why I'm really making this stand about saying womb man, that we have to protect the womb. Um, because if we don't protect the womb, then it's over for the whole human family, period. And I feel like people could be who they want to be, but I'm at the point where I want to be recognized for my womb. I want to be recognized, and I'm a womb man, and I'm okay with that. I don't wanna do woman with an X. I don't wanna do, anybody can do I don't wanna do none of that for me. The category I wanna be in is the womb man, because I am a womb man, and there's a lot that come with that. It is not something that's cosmetic. It has nothing to do with dramatics. It has nothing to do with, how much you think it has nothing to do with what you see or how you feel a woman should be. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with the right bra you wear. It has nothing to do with your so-called body shape. It has nothing to do with these character types of the way we see women. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. So for me, the womb man is something that we must protect with all our might, because we are living in a society that's kind of ending a little bit. It's kind of winding up and winding down, if you will, because we don't know how to make room for people to be who they are, in terms of we don't honor that. Like, I feel like I have to fight for Black girls and women just to be a woman, you know? We shouldn't be having to tiptoe around other people's feelings because they feel like they want to be whoever they want to be. That's great, but you don't get to stop me and tell me who I get to be. You really don't. I think there's a lot of someone, my Uncle Stanley, blessed in memory, he's coming through so strong today. He used to say, when this system tells you that it's ending one system, it's because they have a plan for another system. But you don't know what the system is. So say, let's just take slavery in this country. As they were saying we're abolishing slavery, they came up with Jim Crow. Like, it was just kind of like they really didn't change. They said, we're not going to say this word anymore. We're going to just use this word, you know? And I feel like African Americans in particular need to, it's time for you just to do your real work. Not saying that we didn't do any work, but to do the real work of studying all the stuff that our ancestors have done on this land, you know, and really do the real work. They were all the research, if you will. So they left us tons of research. So there's no way we should still be investing in a political party as Black people. We should not. We've already did that already. We've already did the Democrats. We already did there's no way our survival should not be based upon who is president, because it really has nothing to do with it. Every group that comes here, they don't really give a damn who the president is. They still go about their way of building their community. They don't care who the president is. Really, they don't. So I feel like we have to get out of this hope business, because that's not what saved us. It wasn't hope. It was our hard work and sweat. You know, if reparations happen, of course we know they owe us reparations. I'm not dissing that at all. But I don't think we're gonna be sitting around waiting for the shit either. And we shouldn't be sitting around waiting for it. We should be out there fighting for it. We know that we live in a system that doesn't really want you to have certain things, and that's okay. I feel like that is a-okay. But it is our job to always have a plan. I feel like our ancestors are telling us, remember how we had a plan and we didn't always let them know what the plan was? We just moved on it. I feel like if you are a Black person and you know you have extra room in your house, you should be figuring out how to sponsor someone who looks like you and allow them to come here so you can build some alliances with some people. If you know in your community that some of us are far gone and you can't really help us, there are Black people all over the globe who are needing us to help them, because in helping them, you help us. See, I'm not into this thing of, I definitely know I'm an African woman, always been. I don't get mistaken for shit else. So I'm always gonna be black. Everything about me is black. I'm an African descendant. Yes, I am. Unlike most black people who talk that shit, I can tell you the plantation my ancestors walked off of. I could say their names. And so in that, I know I owe them something. And so I feel like we got to understand that we are connected to something global, and it's okay for people to be who they are. But there is a connectedness. Like I care about what's happening in Haiti. I care about what's happening in South Africa. I care about what's happening with Black people in Latin America. You know, I'm not trying to claim people who don't claim me. So I don't have that dying sick love of I'm gonna make you black and you don't really see yourself as black. I don't give a damn. Why would I be messing with you? You don't even like me. Bye. You have to learn to ignore people because you know they'll come back around because this system has a way of telling you who you are at the end of the day. So, I don't even concern myself with people like that. I really don't concern myself. So I just feel like we got to be about the business of taking care of ourselves and our community and people who are like us. As I reflect upon growing up in the 70s and part of the 80s, in my youth, in my really young adolescence, honestly, I remember Black folks taking care of each other. You know, I remember walking down Swain Street and damn near knowing everybody on the block. And they knew what time we were going to be walking down that street every day. They knew if my mother was at work, we better all be on the steps or in the house. I remember a community being so accountable. I feel like a lot of us have had that experience. Not all of us, but a lot of us have. And when you experiencing something, it's not just for you to say, that's a great memory. No, it's for you to act on it. You must recreate that. You can't keep saying, well, I didn't have that opportunity. You can't keep saying that. You have to make it happen. You have to make it happen. That's why you've experienced it. Because now it is your job. It's your job to now pass that experience on to someone else. Family, we owe this to our people. We owe this to our young folks. We owe them this. Those experiences that were created for us. And I'm talking about people who maybe y'all grew up in the 70s like me. Them 70s was so vivid, man. I'm telling you. I think about them and I just smile. Like, when you're young, you don't even know you in the good old days, honestly, until you're old and you reflect and go, let me improve on that. It don't mean that ugly things weren't happening, but I also know energy, man. It's all about energy. I'm so drawn to the light, man. I'm so drawn to the good energy. The bad shit, I gotta move. When I see Black folks acting a fool with each other, I got to move. I've discovered TikTok, and I laugh a lot at TikTok, but I think to myself, you have no idea how this too is energy that we're putting out in the universe. And if we don't save ourselves, no one else will. And if it's all over, it's all on us. Family, we got to do better. So, as I bid y'all all adieu, if you notice, I started off the show with some different music, and I love Diane Reeves, and I love the song Afro Blue. And I love that song because the beginning lyric says, dream of a land my soul is from. I hear a hand thump on the drum. And I feel like, I feel my ancestors every day. And I feel like they speak to me every day. And I feel like we owe them our lives. So, family, all right, I'm jumping off of here. I shall hollers and I shall see you all in a couple hours. All righty. Oh, I didn't see that. Family. All right, family. I'm out of here. Have a good week, and I should see you back. I'm gonna be back talking about Black femicide. So I will see y'all all then.